Hey guys, Jared here with Hunt Nashville. The beautiful thing about getting to edit these episodes is I get to interject myself into each one, even if I had nothing to do with the recording of the original episode. This week, Kevin sat down with our buddy Robert Arthur. Robert is a killer guitar player, great songwriter. He's worked with Brad Paisley, Chris Young, Trace Adkins, Mark Chestnut, Joel Singletary, ton of country artists. He is currently playing in a band with Kevin called the Henningsons, who are great friends of ours, good people, awesome artists. He has also been a two-time world champion turkey caller. So they get into a lot of turkey hunting talk, a lot of music talk. They recorded this while heading up to a Henningsen show and just recorded on the drive up. So really good conversation. If you like this podcast, make sure you subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, YouTube, Podbean, wherever you're listening to it from. Thanks to everyone that's been listening. We've been really blown away with everybody's response. So without further ado, here we go.
What's up, y'all? It's Kevin with Double Trouble Hunting here on our Nashville podcast. And I am driving to a gig for the Henningsons up in Champaign, Illinois. And sitting beside me in my Nissan Titan 4x4 is Robert Arthur.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? If you can't tell, I'm from the South. I'm from South Carolina. Old South Carolina homeboy. I'm a little older than my man Kevin here, but I just love this guy. We haven't hunted enough, but we're going to fix all that this year. We're going to try to go kill us a turkey together. And part of the joy of us being on the road together is we share hunting stories. We crawl on that bus or that van or whatever we're in, and man, we start talking deer, turkeys, you name it. That's what we start talking about.
Man, that's how me and Robert hit it off. The first day
that's how we roll, literally. When we're rolling on the road, that's how we roll. You've heard that saying before.
Yeah.
And we roll talking about animals.
I'm gonna try to put this right here, my phone up on the dash, see if
Good
that
deal.
works.
I bet it will.
So yeah, right now every gig's a little different. Sometimes I take a tour bus. Today we're in my truck, and we normally have like guns and tools, but now we got drums and guitars in the back of the truck.
Love it.
And but yeah, so Robert, we thought we would do a podcast because Robert not only is an amazing turkey hunter, but he's a guitar player, so this is perfect for Hunt Nashville. Robert, tell us a little bit about how you got into hunting when you were a youngin' down in South Carolina.
Man, to me, I had a brother that was 12 years older than me. He's still around, thank God. And he was kind of a brother/father figure. My dad worked a lot. He worked a lot of hours. And so the fact that my brother was 12 years older than me, I became his hunting buddy. So he kind of got me into hunting at a really young age. He was a hunter, and in that area, deer, turkey were the big things. Actually, where I'm from, upstate South Carolina, was one of the first places that they reintroduced on the wild turkey. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So
what, were they gone for a while?
Back in the 1940s and 50s, in a lot of states, like you're from Pennsylvania, New York, all of them there, South Carolina, a lot of them got killed out. So there's an area in low country South Carolina, they call it Hellhole Swamp because it's this big swamp, but it's a massive wilderness area. Some of the purest strains of eastern wild turkeys are still there and were there. So that's where they trapped initially in the 1950s to get the purest strain of turkeys, and they used those to reintroduce them, like here in Tennessee and everywhere.
Oh, wow.
It kind of was a byproduct of some of those birds. And then they got them in some other areas. So I think there were some areas in Georgia and whatnot, but that's where they got a lot of the birds. So it was a big deal where I'm from. I'm from a little town called Union. There's literally 3 world champion turkey callers from my county.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm real good friends. There's a guy named Billy O'Daniel who has passed away. Just an amazing turkey caller, hunter. He was one of the groundbreakers early on. And another guy that I'm good friends with, Butch Deal, he's my brother's age. So Butch and my older brother, they hunted together a lot. So I got to be around all these amazing turkey hunters when I was like 12 years old. So they kind of mentored me, and I just, man, I love to hunt big deer. I love it, but turkey is my thing. I just love spring gobbler season.
See, that's how Jared is.
Yeah.
Like I love deer hunting, but I love turkey hunting too.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah,
Jared loves turkey hunting.
I love
Like,
it.
man,
Yeah, me too. If somebody held a gun to my head and said, you got to choose one and you can't ever do the other again, I'd have to do turkey. I would. I just love it that much.
Nice.
So, but yeah, man, I grew up doing that. We live in Union. There's a big area called the Sumter National Forest there. It's tens of thousands of acres of public land in the southern part of our county. So, man, I got to cut my teeth on some of the toughest birds to hunt there is anywhere. They had a lot of hunting pressure on them in that area. And I had some good farmers and everything that let us go onto their land. But,
That's cool. With a lot of hardwoods, fields.
a lot of pines back there, a lot of
Okay,
pines and
that's
hardwoods
tough.
mixed. It is like in
That's
this
thick as
area.
anything.
Yeah, and
Wow.
Tennessee, you know, is mostly all hardwoods and hills and hollers and everything. Back there, it's a mixture.
Okay.
It's, you know, it's both. So, man, yeah, I remember being in high school. Here's a neat story. Me and a guy named Steve Cobb, who is an amazing turkey hunter, been on the Primo staff for years.
He's still on Primo staff?
I'm not sure if it's Primos now or who he's on. He's on one of the big major callers.
Okay.
He's placed in the Grand Nationals in the world. He's one of the just unbelievable hunter. Well, he's my age. He and I and a bunch of other turkey hunters, literally when I was in high school, I would go before school in my daddy's 63 Plymouth and go to some of those places I mentioned, hunt turkeys, and me and Cobb would kind of convene on the front steps of the high school and we'd go, what'd you get? And he'd go, man, I shot a big longbeard this morning. I go, man, I missed one. And if we'd just like swap stories, but he's a very cool guy, great hunter. There's just so many guys back there that I grew up that are amazing hunters in that area.
That's cool. So how did you, now, if you look in the record books in South Carolina, you will see the name Robert Arthur as the state champion turkey caller.
I was the South Carolina Open calling champion 2 years in a row back in the 80s.
Man, that's
And
awesome.
let me just preface that by saying what's today's date? The 16th, February the 17th, or whatever. I went to the NWTF show that's here in Nashville yesterday morning. And I just want to say, back when I called in contests, it was nowhere near the competition level that is now.
Oh, come on now, don't sell yourself short.
No, man.
I've heard your calls.
Well, I mean, I'm an old redneck hillbilly. I'm going to chase them down, and I'm going to position myself and get them in that way, which we can talk more about hunting techniques in a minute.
Yeah.
But, man, I'm serious. Now, these guys have got it to such a science. It blows my mind how good they are. A hen turkey would come in last place in these contests now. These guys they have so much control.
You're talking about a live hen.
Yeah, I'm talking about a live hen would come in last place. She would. I mean, because these guys that call now are just astounding how good they are. But with that being said, yes, I was fortunate enough. I placed in several contests. I probably got 10 or 12 trophies. Won the South Carolina Open 2 years in a row.
Man,
so that was fun. That was a fun time.
Heck yeah, well, that's really cool.
But
All
yeah,
right, so let me
go
ask
ahead.
you this: are you still using the same, basically the same calling techniques that you did back in the day?
Yeah, the calls now have become a lot more sophisticated and better.
Cool.
For instance, there's literally
24?
hundreds of
Sorry,
ways. Yeah, 24.
We're driving, so
yeah.
I got Redneck Siri.
Yeah, my name is Redneck Siri. They call me Redneck Siri on the road. So, Redneck Siri is telling you to get your butt in one of these right lanes right here. Are you going to be?
That's 65 though. We go 65.
Well, you're going 24 too, because it runs
yeah, you're right,
concurrently.
man. See,
I have to educate this man a little bit here in the ways of geography. Had we stayed in the lane he was in, we would have circled back around Nashville, which would have been fine. It would have given you a lot more podcasts. But hey, that's all cool. But now we're in the right lane. We're cooking with gas. We're going to go straight up here, buddy. But where were we at? What were we talking about?
We were talking about how the calls have changed.
Oh yeah,
Since the 80s.
Well, in the 80s, you basically a diaphragm call, a mouth call, is basically this little horseshoe piece of aluminum most time, and it has a piece of latex rubber that's actually the same material. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, that they make condoms out of.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah. Well, hey, I had to say it. I just speak truth. You'll figure that out about me on this little podcast. But it's the same material.
It's
Unused, have you know? But it's the same material.
Right.
It's a thin, and I mean, sometimes they're thicker, sometimes they're thinner.
Depending on the sound.
Yeah. But now, back in my day, they would have 2 or 3 thicknesses of rubber, and they'd pull them across there. Sometimes they'd put 2 reeds on there. Now, it's gotten so sophisticated that you'll have a call maybe with 1 piece, maybe a call with 2 pieces, maybe a call with 3 pieces, maybe a call with 4 pieces, and hundreds of ways that they cut, and like they'll cut a slice out of maybe the 3rd piece of rubber, and they'll split one right on the tip. And each of these cuts in varying degrees of thicknesses and tensions and everything give you different tones. That's what I was kind of thinking of earlier when I said it's gotten so smart now.
Yeah.
They can just.
So when they talk about like a raspy head,
raspy tends to be thicker rubber with like different cuts on it.
Okay.
So it's I mean, the sky's the limit. Now there is hundreds of ways that they've experimented. They cut this latex just to give you different tones and give you different control and whatnot. It's really it is a full-fledged science now. But the average guy who's starting out, I would personally recommend just like a 2-reed call with maybe 1 little cut, but not a lot of sophisticated cuts on it because they're harder to run when you're first learning.
Yeah.
But just and just get one. The key is being able to seal the air off in the roof of your mouth, which we don't have a visual going on here, but you're basically pressing with your tongue that horseshoe up against the roof of your mouth, and you don't want a lot of airflow over the top of the horseshoe between the roof of your mouth and where the horseshoe. Yeah, you're gonna go left right here. We got a big truck that's trying to cut Kevin off here. Kevin's giving him some kind of finger gesture with his finger in the air. I really don't know. No, I'm totally kidding. Kevin's a nice guy.
Nashville wave.
Yeah, he don't do that. But yeah, the key is on that call, you don't want a lot of air. You don't want a whole lot of air passing between the horseshoe and the roof of your mouth. You want a good seal on that call, and it goes
just between your tongue and the front of the call.
Exactly.
Okay.
So the air at that point then would go under the bottom of the call, but over the top of your tongue, and then your tongue is touching that latex rubber, and you just get it in a sequence. You being a drummer know this better than anybody. It's really more about rhythm to me and cadence. That's a nice name. I like that. Yeah, cadence. That's a nice name. Maybe
that's my daughter's name.
Yeah.
That's why I did it.
Yeah. So it's about the cadence and the rhythm as opposed to the tone. Let me kind of illustrate that with language. Let's say I'm talking to Kevin right now, and I'm talking to you guys on this podcast. Like for certain emphasis on certain words, I may raise my voice and go, "Man, that was a huge buck," if I do that. Or like, but let's say I did that in complete monotone, like a machine, like Siri. "Man, that was a huge buck. You should have seen his right." I mean, that's not a lot of feeling in it. To me, turkey calling is the exact same way. It's about emphasis, cadence, and rhythm, and there's an ebb and flow to it. So I'm just going to do this with my mouth. I don't have a call, but like if I just did a turkey call and I said, well, that's pretty good and all, but that's like me talking like this. It's kind of boring to you guys. You would cut the podcast off in less than 60 seconds. A turkey's cadence will just have ebb and flow to it. It's kind of an ebb and flow to the rhythm.
Hey, check this out.
So, yeah.
Look what I got in my console of my truck.
Oh, he has a mouth
Come
call.
on, it's brand new, buddy.
Oh.
I was planning ahead.
Oh,
Give us-
man.
Go for it.
Well-
Open this joker up. What's this called?
This is an HS Strut starter 2-pack.
So
Wow, so I may suck on this call because this may not. Oh yeah, now this particular call he's got one that has this, which I forgot to mention this.
that has like a dome.
Well, it has a dome that helps you seal the air off. So personally, I've never used one of these. So this is like virgin territory. Pardon the expression.
You watch though, it's gonna sound unbelievable.
Well,
I've heard this dude in the woods,
I don't know.
and I'll sit beside him, and I thought there was a live turkey walking up beside us.
Well, we'll see how unbelievable it sounds. But this is an HS Strut, which, by the way, I think that's who my friend Steve Cobb works for.
Oh, okay.
I just kind of a side note there.
All right.
Anyway,
Yeah. So we'll give you a sec, warm up a little bit.
well,
You know,
okay.
that's it.
Yeah, well, this one's a high-pitched one.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what's going on here. I know instantly. There's no cuts in this particular call,
Okay.
which will inherently make it higher, and it's a thinner rubber, which will make it thus that squeal kind of high-pitched thing. But
Wait,
here,
you
I'm
just
gonna,
figured that out by putting that in your mouth for just 1 second.
yeah, because I could feel, because I've called enough and I could feel it with my tongue. I could tell.
This is pro, people.
Oh,
this is
that's-
pro turkey calling at its best.
Yeah, these people are going to be changing the station when they hear me blow this call if you don't stop talking like that. But let me mess with it a second to see what happens.
All right. Yeah.
What's that? Okay. I wish you guys could see this, but there's two rubbers on this. My tongue is tending to slide to the front one where that like really high pitched thing, that's where I'm getting only one of the rubbers to vibrate.
Oh, okay.
So what I'm gonna do to fix that is try to push it a little further forward in my mouth to where my tongue hits both of them.
Okay.
So here, let me try that. That's what I did. I just slid it a little further forward,
Yep.
and now I'm getting the sound of both of those rubbers. And if you can tell it, I don't know if you can with this phone microphone or not, it's got a slight little rasp to it. Just
Yeah.
a little,
It's
which
a
is
lot more raspy than when you first put it on.
There again, I'm not used to this at all. I'm not used to that dome.
Yep.
So, what's that? Trying to get the little squeal thing out of it.
Yep.
Once the rubbers get moist, and this is gross to talk about, but saliva kind of gets in between them and everything.
It's a little easier to call. At that
Then
point,
it will give you that full-fledged that kind of rasp thing. Right now that hadn't happened yet, so I'm getting that squeal from that front one.
Yeah, I got you.
So yeah, so
That sounds
let's just go to a hunting situation here. Say I'm set up. First off, let me
Yeah,
just
let's
say
go.
this.
Let's go to the beginning of this. Is like for a brand new turkey hunter.
Okay.
So you just get out of your truck. You shut the door of the truck super quiet.
Right.
It's pitch black. You're on a new property that you have a feeling you know where the birds have been roosted, but you're not sure. What do you do to start off?
That's important that you pointed out that it was a new property. I try to get in a centrally located place in that new property that's kind of elevated, where I can hear all around me. I want to be able to hear. I mean, you're at a disadvantage if you've never hunted this property and you don't know what the birds tend to want to do anyway, which is so key. I don't think, if I could say one thing about turkey hunting, is this: know what they kind of want to do, even if you weren't there calling. Because guess what? That's probably what they're going to freaking do anyway. Because their hens are probably going to go that way. They're going to go that way most of the time. Now, great callers can position themselves and maybe change their minds a bit. But the key to a successful turkey hunter, in my opinion, is knowing their tendencies and knowing what they want to do anyway, whether you were calling or not, and then positioning yourself in front of them where they tend to want to go off the roost.
Okay, so what do you feel in a scenario that you have
a gobbler in the spring,
like a field, or what are their normal tendencies?
They want to go to an area where they can do two things in the spring: feed and strut. That's kind of what they're going to want to do when they come off the roost. Most gobblers. Now,
they've been sitting all night up
they've
on the
been
roost.
sitting up on the
They're
roost.
hungry.
So if it's early in the spring when they tend to be henned up anyway, they're going to go where there's hens go. So you want to know where do I think this flock? Where are these hens going to convene? Guess what? Those dudes are going there. They're going to eventually get to them. They may hang around and fight and do their little show-off dancing and all that stuff, strutting, but they're going to wind up near or with those hens 9 times out of 10. Sometimes for random reasons that turkey owners scratch their heads and they don't know why. A gobbler will just have this beeline in his mind when he comes off the roost, and he just beelines to some area 300 yards, a half a mile away, and you're going, well, why did he go over there? Well, that's not always the norm. Most of the time they have this little pattern that they do. And so you pointing out that it was a brand new property, that if you have the chance and you know you're going to hunt a property, it would be very beneficial to maybe just go out there, not call a lot preseason, but just listen and sit and go, okay, they're gobbling right there on that ridge. Okay, what are they doing? Would you
go out at night or would you go out in the morning?
I'd go out in the morning if you have the opportunity.
And see what, because that's when they're going to be gobbling, really.
They're going to be gobbling. Most of the time they gobble best the first hour of light. That's just, all turkeys do that. No. But now with that being said, our work schedules, our lives don't always let us do that. So if you can go out in the middle of the day and see them in a certain field, that's probably where they headed that morning. They probably already had it in their mind, and they'll just, if they're not bothered by humans or coyotes or whatever, they'll hang out in a certain area and feed and strut, do their thing, So scouting is key, knowing where they kind of want to go. And then you're going to position yourself with a blind in a good ambush location. Position yourself there. And then when you call, it makes sense to them. They're like, oh, okay, that's one of those hens that are over there anyway. I'm just going to kind of swing by and get her. And the decoy thing, you can use that. But the big mistake I think that a lot of young hunters do is they overcall. Okay. They will call too much.
I've done that, definitely.
Yes, they will. And what you do when you do that, and which there's certain times that you call a lot,
but usually they're already engaged.
They're already engaged. So if you got a gobbler that's gobbling pretty good anyway, and you kind of know his tendency, you know where he's going to want to go, you've positioned yourself. I think about it like a chess match. You're positioning yourself in front of where he's probably wanting to go anyway. And a common thing I'll do, say he's on the roost. I try not to call to him a lot on the roost, but I may, if he's on the roost gobbling, I would just do, which I've got Kevin's call here, I don't know how good it'll sound, but just a soft yelp, something like this. I just say he's gobbling over there, and he's still in the tree. I may do this. Just go. Just a little soft yelp. Probably softer than that one. But just a little soft thing like that. And if he gobbles at that, cuts me off, I most of the time won't really call much more until he's on the ground. Because I want to intrigue him. Right. I don't want him to think I'm this. I'm gonna break it down to human terms here. Like if this guy, say this girl is just calling this guy all the time, calling this guy. Well, he's like, well, I kind of got her. I'm just gonna let her come on over here to me. But if she's just messing with him just enough, kind of a flirtation thing, like, yeah, I'm over here, and then he gobbles at it, I'm not going to call my head off at him. The exception to that is if there's 3 or 4 hens all around me and they're calling like crazy.
So if you have a bunch of hens that are really
then I may call more, because at that point, I'm in
step up.
competition with some other girls.
Right.
Think about it like that: a bunch of teenage girls trying to win the quarterback.
Yeah.
Oh well, I got to show off
essentially,
too.
as a turkey caller, you want to act like a teenage girl.
Exactly. I want to act like I want him, but I want him just enough to make him come to me. Now, if there's no other hens around,
Right.
I'm not going to call a whole bunch
Right.
because I don't want him to think, oh, I'm a see. Because here's what's normal in the turkey woods. If you get out and observe,
Yeah.
you'll see this happen. A gobbler, the reason he's on the roost calling like he calls, he's showing off and all that, but he's gathering his hens to him.
He's wanting them to come in.
Yeah, he's wanting them to. So that's the norm. That's what's in an unmolested, normal situation. 9 mornings out of 10, he gobbles like that, and the hens all hear that, and they'll kind of mosey up there toward him, and then they all gather up, and then they head off in that direction, like I was talking about, like wherever they kind of want to go anyway.
Right.
You know, they don't, let me talk about that a bit. They don't tend to want to go through a bunch of thickets. They don't tend to want to go through, like fly over a bunch of big gullies or creeks.
Okay.
So if you position yourself like that, you're at a disadvantage already. But if it's like say it's around here, this hardwood ridge kind of open, and it's nice and sloped down, and it goes down to a nice little creek bottom where there's some good little green patches.
Yeah.
That's probably where he's headed. I mean, something like that.
So
You
they
know,
like
you might
the path of least resistance.
path of least
They
resistance,
will,
just
they will
like
get
a
hung
deer.
up on the other side of a fence. Even I've had that
They
happen
will.
where they will just
They
like
will
step
do
back
that.
and forth, and like I'm not crossing.
Now, with that being said, they will cross them. You know, sometimes they'll cross them, but
You're a better
Yeah.
caller than I am because I
yeah.
can't get.
Well, you just gotta just remove the barriers as much as you can.
Gotcha.
Remove the reasons for him not to come into you. That's what turkey calling is really about. It's really about removing the reasons that he don't want to come. If you do that, if you position yourself good, trust me, you don't have to be a world freaking champion turkey caller. You just sound like a turkey.
Yeah.
And just, you know, yeah, I mean, just, and then less calling better, softer the better, if he can hear you. And to me, this works amazing too. If you're in hardwoods, and say I did one of these little yelps, like, I may scratching the leaves right beside me.
Okay.
Because if you've ever hunted turkeys a lot and you're in hardwoods, they're scratching right. You can hear them. It sounds like men walking in the woods.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you know, they're very loud. It's not like a deer. They're walking on those little pogo sticks, and you kind of hear them coming, you know, and they're like, what was that? Was that a squirrel? And you
Right.
look, and then there's that big buck standing there.
Right.
A turkey is unmistakable when he's walking towards you in like hardwoods. So to me,
Well, they have that whole.
Yeah.
It's almost as big as your hand.
Right,
Their
exactly.
footprint.
So obviously where he can't see you, but I'll reach around behind me a lot and scratching the leaves. It just makes it sound more natural. Like if you're yelping a hen while she's feeding around there scratching for acres, she'll and you just kind of scratching in the leaves as you do that.
Yeah.
Man, that works like crazy. That they will, if he hears that, and in our area, an ideal thing is like if there's a hardwood ridge and he's there, and you know he's kind of heading towards you. I like to position myself just on the other side of that hardwood ridge where he has to get in sight, and when he's in sight, he's in shotgun range.
So you just see his head. Just
Well, you
don't
kind
even
of
have to
see
his
him.
body.
You kind of see him because if you're soft yelping like that and scratching around in those leaves, man, 9 times out of 10, he can't stand it. He's gonna walk up there and at least get inside so he can see that hen.
see the top of the ridge.
Yeah, so he can kind of peek over it.
Right.
So if you have the opportunity, you don't want to sit up 120 yards down that ridge where once he gets to the top of that ridge, he can see open hardwoods 120 yards away, and he goes, I don't see a hen right there, something squirrely. You know, he wants to, once he tops that hill, you want to be in a position where you're probably going to get a shot then, you know, because he
That's
will,
interesting.
yeah, I mean, because if he gets up there, it ain't that they reason, they're just instinctive creatures. They're so highly instinctive. And if he tops that hill and it's wide open and he don't see a hen, he's going to be hesitant to go down there.
That's
you know,
because like I'm just thinking of what I would do. Like, I'm thinking a lot of times you're like, I want to see the most area I can so I can see them coming.
Yeah,
but that doesn't work.
That's not always true. Right. Yeah. Now, if you got decoys, it's another ball game. Yeah, right. That's a different ball game then because he sees that hen down there. That's what a decoy works. Right. He sees that decoy at that point, and if you got 2 or 3 people, you might make too much noise to get too close to that top of that ridge. But man, I've killed a lot of turkeys that way, just getting as close as I can, and that's kind of an art form, and it depends on foliage. If it's early in the spring, you can't get as close because there's no leaves yet, and they can see you better if they're still in the tree. There's a lot of different things that will tell me how close I want to get. If there's tons of foliage, which me and Kevin are riding by great turkey fields right now.
Oh man, look at that
and I'm slightly distracted because I'm looking out to see if there's a big turkey out there.
I guarantee there's going to be one. It's as you can probably hear, it's raining.
Oh yeah,
you can hear that.
Yeah, so
but turkeys, I've shot turkeys in the rain. They're not as vocal.
No, they're not. Right.
And it's kind of a long day. I've noticed.
Right.
And they'll just appear out of
Sometimes
nowhere.
they just appear. Right. Yeah. And interesting thing about rain, which this is so counterintuitive, but this is very true. Turkeys like to get out in a field when it rains.
Oh, really?
They do. And here's 2 reasons why. This is going to sound crazy. They stay drier out in a field. And people are going to hear this and they're going to go, that is stupid. But here's why. Their oil on their feathers, if they're walking around in the woods, their feathers are pressing against plants and tall and like trees and whatnot, and they tend to touch the feathers, which will make the water press in and get them more wet. If they're out in the field, you've heard those saying, water off of a duck's back. It's the same thing like a turkey. So they're not touching a bunch of stuff, and they can just shake off every few seconds, and then they get the water off of them.
So they're trying to keep the rain from getting into their undercoat.
That's reason, exactly. That's reason number 1. To me, reason number 2 is the rain nullifies one of their biggest senses, which is hearing, and so if they get out in that field, they can see all around them. They can use that other incredible sense they've got, which is probably their most incredible sense, which is their sight. They can use that better, because if they're in the woods and it's pouring down rain, you've been there before hunting when you got soaked or whatever, that makes them uncomfortable because that rain's hitting and then it's thicker in the woods and they're like, oh crap, I can't hear anything coming, I can't hear, so they don't like that. That makes them more nervous. They're not going to hear something running up on them, so they want to accentuate that sight advantage they have. And if they get in a more open area, that's why you see them a lot in fields when it's raining.
That's cool.
Because they can't use that here. Man, if a turkey was like a deer and he had a sense of smell, we never would kill one.
I know, right?
It would be crazy.
Because you're already on the ground with them.
Right, you're already on the ground. Yeah, they would be probably impossible to kill.
And they've got a lot of advantages. And they can see 360 degrees.
It's like a periscope. Yeah, it's completely like a little periscope head.
So that's something else to keep in mind for new hunters. The only time that you can move when you're in sight of a turkey is when that head is behind a tree, or he's in full strut and it's got his back to you.
That's good. That's 2 excellent points. And
that's the only time.
That's the only time. And then here's the problem: if he's got a hen or a jake with him, guess what? They can see for him. If they're not in strut, So if you got a gobbler there and he's got hens with him, you got to wait till every turkey's head's down, which is tricky and challenging to do.
And that's why you got to have your gun up on your knee, ready to go.
Limited movement, man. You got to be camoed. You got to be limited movement.
And have your mossy oak obsession. Come on.
Absolutely, mossy oak. You got to have it on. Got to be wearing it.
So let's talk about this scenario. So you got set up on them. This happens to me all the time.
Right.
I think it's going to be the perfect fly down.
Right.
I'm like 100 yards from this bird, and it's answering, flies down, and goes like 300 yards to the other side of the field. And then you look across the field, and all of the turkeys are flying right there, that side of the field.
A lot of times.
What is your best tactic? Because they're not working your way now, and this has been an hour after daylight. You would call and they're just balled up. What do you do in that scenario?
Here's what I would probably do in that, and there again, if I knew the lay of the land.
Right.
I would sit there and watch them if I didn't have any decoys or anything. And if I was sure, okay, they're feeding this way, they're not interested in me, they don't see me, I'm calling over here, I can't get the hens interested, which, by the way, that's what you got. That's what you're really getting interested at that point.
Okay.
Bottom line is, you want to get those hens interested and get them over there. Because guess what? That gobbler's going to follow them hens. If all them hens flew down to him and they're over there with him, you got to get them interested. But let's follow your deal here.
Yeah.
They're not interested. They're over there. He's strutting. The hens are feeding, pecking around. You see them start to feed off. If you have enough land and you know the area well enough and you see them going in a certain direction,
Or if you can hop a couple fences.
yeah,
No,
yeah, exactly. Oh, wow.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
He's not kidding, folks. He's the biggest poacher. No, now I'm kidding. But no, I will back out, literally back away from them.
Okay.
If I see them, say it's a big, long bottom. Say it's a big, long creek bottom. I'm just going to make this, and then they flew out in this creek. And this creek winds down through the property, say a quarter of a mile. And there's like 100-yard wide bottom there, which is kind of a thing that in the South you have that kind of situation a lot. I try to back out. Obviously, you don't want them to see you moving because it's game over if they do. But if you can somehow back out, and back to my chess match analogy then, I see them going south. I back out, get into the woods, and this is so unlike deer hunting because you don't do stuff like this, and literally quickly, frantically walk around, try to maybe walk 500 yards around in front of them and reposition myself.
Out of sight of the field.
Out of sight of the field. Oh, yeah. If you're inside of the field and you try this,
if you can
you're
see
screwed.
a bird when you're doing this,
They could, guess what?
busted.
They can see you too.
Yeah.
So I try to get back in the woods far enough where you can't maybe even see the field anymore. Because then the turkeys aren't going to see you. And then do a 90-degree turn and go and just move and get in front of them somehow. And if you have a decoy and you can get in front of them, try to position yourself back to my initial point where they're going anyway, where you know they're headed anyway. That's the whole game. And then if you get set, which it may be challenging to do that, and you may not be able to do that, but sometimes the gobblers will service the hens, the ones that like want to be bred, and then say 8 or 9 o'clock, they'll kind of separate from the hens a bit. They'll kind of go off and do their own thing. That's a key moment. When that happens, if you can be positioned off in front of them, then at that point hit him with some calling. He may come on in because he knows then that any available hen who wanted to be bred, she's done bred and she's went off over here with her little group of hens. A lot of times they'll leave the hens in for a little while.
He'll be looking for a cigarette for a little while.
They'll be looking for a cigarette,
No, I'm just kidding.
and they'll be looking for the next hot chick to come along.
Exactly.
So you can be that next hot chick.
Right.
And as the old song goes, he might be looking for love in all the wrong places.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Come
yeah,
in,
yeah.
there'll be a 12 gauge waiting on it.
Yeah, there'll be a 12 gauge waiting on it.
That's
So,
hilarious.
yeah, but just it's about positioning. Great turkey calling is about positioning. And you just learn that from, but just, if I could sum it up in one thing, it's like, get where they want to go anyway.
Yeah.
And then it's easier to call them because they want to go there anyway.
Yeah,
you know,
so
it's kind of where they want to go.
So people a lot of times think that it's 90% calling, but honestly, the way you're explaining it,
It's not 90% calling.
it's
No,
like
it's not.
50-50.
Yeah.
Positioning is key.
Now you have to be able to call and somewhat sound like a turkey and not overcall. And back to that cadence stuff I talked about. It's about the flow and the cadence of it way more than if you crack on a couple of. Guess what? Hens do it too. They'll, they sound terrible like that. But if you listen to their cadence, it has a neat flow to it. They'll all, and some of them talk faster, just like people talk faster. Some of them have a faster rhythm, but it's about rhythm and about that more than about tone.
Yeah. When you got a gobbler that's answering, like he's definitely answered you,
you want to call just enough to keep him interested.
do you cut him off at all, or is there anything
Sometimes
during his gobble? Have you noticed where that helps or hinders? Like when he's in the middle of his gobble?
Sometimes I will.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll do that because the hen will do that.
You're right.
Like, if he gobbles, I'm like, just hit him with a
Yeah.
like that, and then he'll gobble at it again. And if he does that, man, he's really interested.
Yeah.
He's probably going to head up there towards you. And,
So
if
talk
you're,
about the cut when you're cutting.
that's an excited kind of yelp. It's just it's kind of an out of rhythm thing. I'm going to try to do it with your call gear. I'm not sure I can.
Yeah,
But-
that plastic piece on that thing is weird.
But like a cut is, it's kind of like a fly down cackle. People have heard about a fly down cackle, which that's more of a, when she flies down.
Yep.
But a cut is just a series of excited kind of yelps. Like I'm gonna do a basic yelp, and then I'm gonna try to cut right behind it here. So is it like a yelp? I'm sorry, man, Miss Rubber.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna cut behind it.
Okay.
Like that. Just right.
Yeah.
She's kind of like, come on, dang it. It's like that. It's almost like she's scolding the gobbler a little bit, or like yelling, or she's just saying, hey, I'm ready for you.
So in musician terms, it's a dotted eighth with a couple 16th notes.
Exactly. You could say, it's just more, it's just, and then so many times when they do that,
A couple triplets.
they'll do that, and then they'll cascade off into a regular rhythm. And I'm going to do it with my mouth. It'll do it maybe a little better.
Right.
They'll be like, and it go into a regular thing like that. That's
With a regular yelp.
yeah, that's
cool.
very, very common to hear that in a hen that's really excited. Probably more so earlier in the morning, like when they're coming off the roost and everything. But
Once they're already on the ground.
But
locating, too.
That's a good locator technique. That's what I was going to say. If you don't know, so you go to a new area in your property, and you know there's turkeys there. I'll do something like that just to get a shot gobble out of him, just kind of a locator gobble. And then once he gobbles, I'll maybe see if he gobbles at me again, if he's moved any, if he's come closer, that kind of thing. Sometimes you do that, and he's so close, you just have to freaking sit down right there. You're kind of almost busted in a sense, like you don't have time to rethink anything. You just have to get down and get camoed up, which that's always exciting. That's fun at turkey hunting when you do that.
Oh yeah,
you call
hear
like
one
that.
close.
Oh yeah.
But what's your favorite locator call that isn't? I mean, what's your favorite locator call in general?
You're talking about just that's not a turkey call.
Yeah, that's not a turkey call.
I like
Is that
a
all
crow
you
call better.
Okay.
Now people use an owl hooter, but
Right.
just if you listen out in nature, you hear more owls like right at early in the morning.
Yeah.
But most of the time at 9 o'clock in the morning, you won't hear an owl. You do occasionally, but those crow calls are great little shot gobble calls. And I've heard the guys out west use the coyote calls, and they'll gobble at them. I've never used one of those for that, but just just like 3 or 4, like almost like the crow is pissed a little bit, like he's just like calling real loud.
Yeah.
And that many times will shock a turkey into gobbling. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite. I got a night in hell crow call.
I used the
real
crow
nasty
call.
sound.
Yeah, I
It's
love
like
it.
loud.
Love
Some of them
it.
aren't as loud as others.
I love using the crow call though. And here's the advantage of that. Back to the chess match game, back to the chess thing. The advantage of using a crow call is you're not giving your location away as the hen. And sometimes that's really important, especially if you've got a gobbler that's maybe been hunted and he's hesitant to come into a call, like a hen call. He's a little leery of that.
Yeah.
If you use the cackle, like the cutting and all, to locate the gobbler, he may gobble at it, but you've given your location away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You've let him know, but on the other hand, if you use that crow call, he's not going to associate that with the hen. He's just going to associate that with, there's just a crow and I just got mad at it and gobbled at it.
Yeah, because the turkey always wants to be the loudest thing in the world.
Exactly.
And so they're going to answer to that.
So, yeah, that's a good reason to use the crow call. You're not giving away your location.
So do you do any of the fanning at all? Or
I'm getting into that more.
Yeah, that's a newer technique that's come out in the last 10 years.
I did that last year on a turkey, and it worked. There were 2 longbeards, and back to your earlier thing, they were out in this field, and I was on this guy's property. He let me hunt, and I'm like, man, these turkeys ain't gonna come in. I called, did the soft yelping and all that stuff, and they looked at me, they strutted and gobbled. They were out there by themselves, they didn't have any hens. So I belly crawl, as we call it, up to the edge of this fence, and I've got one of these fans that you open up, literally like a fan that people wave with, that you can keep tucked in your backpack. I opened this fan up and just held my hand out and stuck it through the fence, and literally just kind of turned it a little bit. Now these turkeys at this point were about 150 yards away. Well, they looked down there and saw that, and it wasn't a mad rush, but they started feeding my way.
Just your arm and a fan.
Just my arm and a fan, and I literally laid there on my stomach because I couldn't move at that point. I was right up against the fence. I laid there, and I'd take the fan down, and then they'd feed a little bit, and I'd put the fan back up, and I'd turn it like it was the turkey turning. This was a new deal for me. I hadn't really done it a lot.
Man, I think I'm gonna do that this year.
And I carried
a freaking old, huge Tom decoy.
Oh wow!
Last year, and it was so heavy. And I got my gun.
That little fan thing is so convenient.
So that folds up and puts you in your pocket.
Literally like a fan, like one of these old timey
church
fans,
ladies.
like church lady fan. I keep that fan in there, and that turkey got within 45 yards, which is a marginal shot, but I had a 3.5 inch, and he got within 45 yards, him and the other one, and he stood on his back legs, and he was kind of looking at me, and I would have preferred for him to come another 5-10 yards, but I heard him putt one time, and I'm like, he's on to me. He sees something. So what I did at that point was I bark, 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 just real loud on my mouth, and he run his neck up really high, and I shot and rolled him over. And he was close enough. So a lot of times, if you get him in there and he's strutting, it's good to just kind of go like, and then he'll run that neck out.
He'll like come stand up and like,
he'll like stand up.
That'll be so loud to him.
That'll be so loud, and then he'll run his neck out and literally look at you.
Right.
I have done this. This is kind of goofy and funny, but I had one time at like 15 yards, and I said, "Hey, buddy," like that. and he run his neck out, and I shot him. That's kind of hilarious. But
it worked the same way?
Yeah, he just like, he was about to putt, And I mean, I just said it. I didn't move. I just said, "Hey, buddy," and then he run his neck out. And I said,
"Good night."
I don't advise that. I literally, safety off, gun on the knee. I had it on his head.
We're in Kentucky.
We went into Kentucky. Blue Moon of Kentucky. Not kidding. Oh, sorry. I'm not going to do that.
Well, hey, actually, that's a good transition.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your guitar playing now.
Oh, guitar playing?
Okay. Did you find your guitar in the woods?
Did I find my guitar in the woods?
Like, were you hunting one day and you found a guitar?
I actually...
Is that how it all started?
I started playing guitar and started hunting about the same time. Actually, cool. I take that back. I was hunting before I was playing guitar.
Oh, all right.
I was. Yeah, I was hunting as a littler kid. I started playing guitar around 11 or 12.
Cool.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I started hunting at like 6 or 7.
Yeah, I started playing drums at, I think I was 9 years old. So that's the same thing. Like, did you come from a musical family at all? Or?
Yeah, my dad was a really great singer. He had a chance when he was a younger man. He played with a guy that was an amazing guitarist, and they did a lot of big band music, and he had a chance to go up to Chicago and play in this big club or whatever, and he turned it down because he was going to law school.
Oh, wow.
My dad served in the war, served in World War II. He went in as a teenager, fought the Japanese. He was on a ship that almost got hit by a kamikaze. There was a fire on the ship. Long story short, he ended up catching TB, which TB was bad then. He spent a year and a half in New York City in the hospital.
He had tuberculosis.
Yeah, because he had TB in his lung. Lived through that. Got out of school. Was a great singer. Messed around with this guy. Came back to South Carolina. He came from a poor family. He thumbed his way to college. For those of you who don't know what thumbing is, he would stand out on the bypass in my hometown, hold his thumb out, and ride 25 miles to the nearest town where a college was, Spartanburg, South Carolina. Thumbed his way up there.
Oh, so he was hitchhiking every day to go to college?
Hitchhiked every day to go to college. This was in the 50s.
So
Yeah.
people would pick up.
People would pick up back then.
Yeah.
You know, it
Not
wasn't
now.
a big deal.
Yeah.
So that's how he went to class. Ended up working his way through law school. Was a little small town lawyer. You know, when I say lawyer, he was the lawyer that did real estate deeds for people for $35.
Oh,
He'd
yeah.
do wills for these little widow ladies for $25. You know,
Yeah.
but he was real popular in that town.
That's
And my
cool.
dad too. This is interesting, kind of a tie to the turkey thing. In the 1950s, the late 50s, my dad ran for the legislature, and he got in. He got voted
Was
in
he
the House.
was he running on a turkey ticket?
He was running as a Roosevelt Democrat. Back
All
in the days,
right.
it
Okay.
was popular to be a Democrat because he was more of that kind of Democrat.
Which is pretty much a today's
yeah,
Republican. if you think
exactly
about it.
right. He's
Well,
exactly.
we won't get into politics.
But this is really cool, and I'm very proud of this. My dad, James Arthur, and a man named John Hart introduced a bill in the South Carolina legislature to reintroduce white-tailed deer and wild turkey in upstate South Carolina.
Oh, really?
They were the ones that got the ball rolling on that in the 50s when he was a young man. So that's kind of special to me because the whole legacy of hunting and all really wouldn't have been possible had they not been reintroduced up there, and I wouldn't have grew up around deer and turkeys, which is a huge part of my life now, and you know, Kevin's too. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of proud of that fact.
Man, that's
you know.
awesome. That's like
Yeah.
a family legacy that you
Yeah, and it's
Hey,
just,
you're
I mean,
getting out. That's
he
cool.
did that, you know, and he didn't single-handedly do it, obviously, but he was one of the catalysts to kind of get that going. They're like, yeah, that'd be neat, you know, to get them reintroduced up in that part of the
because
state.
they were pretty much wiped out.
Pretty much,
But,
They're just
some
pockets
states,
of them,
yeah.
you know. So they started the NWTF in particular has did over the last 30 to 40 years an amazing restocking. I mean, man, the wild turkey success in the whole United States is unbelievable. How it's happened.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 50 years ago. Turkey populations just weren't like they are now, and thanks to a lot of things, but mostly on the NWTF, they've done the whole cannon net thing where they bait them and then shoot the cannon net over the top of them and then capture them alive and reintroduce them. That's a whole neat story that's worth checking out online. But man, it's really cool how they
awesome,
succeeded.
man. And that goes into the conservation aspect of why we hunt,
Right.
and why you buy your license and support these companies. Because without the NWTF and these regulations, we would not be able to hunt turkeys like we do.
Not
So,
to get political or bash anybody,
Right.
but man, hunters do way more for wildlife than groups like PETA do. I mean, I'm not trying to bash anybody and single anybody out, but just follow the money trail, man. Follow the conservation efforts of hunters. They do way more for animals than like, you know, a lot of other groups who claim to be for animals.
Yeah,
You know,
it's just a misconception.
It's
that
a total misconception.
That has come around against hunters because, without them, it wouldn't be around. Some states wouldn't even
Absolutely.
have money.
Well, they wouldn't be.
There wouldn't be a wild turkey, I'd say.
And man, just to break it down to the bottom dollar, think of the tourist money that some of these states, like a state like Colorado, which they have all the big game out there, you know, a lot of elk.
Or Wyoming. Wyoming doesn't really have a lot. They are the outdoor state, and that's their main kind of
probably,
revenue.
I don't know, it'd be neat to research this, but I dare guess that hunting is their biggest industry.
Yeah.
It probably is.
I would say so.
I mean, maybe some farming, but man, those states like that depend on it heavily. In my hometown, that restaurants, several hotels. I mean, in South Carolina, they have the most liberal hunting season for deer. Now I'm talking about deer, but deer season opens in September, and it's open until like January 1st. I mean, like gun season opens October 1st. We were out of high school. Our high school shut down. The opening day of gun season was always on a Friday in October. and they would literally close the high school. Literally.
Oh, nice.
Because so many guys win.
You know, it's funny because I interviewed Josh Matheny. He's from Arkansas.
Right.
And he said the same exact thing.
Close it down.
They would close down school that Monday.
Right.
After, it'll open the weekend. They'll close down school Monday or Tuesday.
I love that. It's like a rite of passage.
Oh, yeah.
And
when you get to be like 10 or 12.
Yeah.
Right around there.
And I've got my kids into it now. It was kind of I didn't want to make them do it, but I really tried to cultivate their interest. And my son now, he's killed my 15-year-old's killed 4 deer, and he's killed 4 turkeys now.
He killed a hoss last year.
Yeah, he killed a really nice 9-pointer, and he killed a little buck. I'm real picky. I try to let my little bucks walk on the little piece of land that I live on, but I let them shoot them because I remember when I was a kid. To me, it's a bigger deal to cultivate the interest than to let that one little buck live.
Oh,
It's a bigger milestone to me to get that interest in. So he shot a 2-year-old deer this year that I definitely wouldn't have shot, but I let him shoot it, and man, it's neat to see him get excited about it.
That's cool.
And my littlest son, who's 10, he had a chance this year, but I was real proud of him. A little spike came out on one of the last days, and he was like 150 yards, and he's like, Dad, I just don't feel good about shooting him, which that's the same thing that my oldest son said his first chance.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
man, that's cool.
So I told him I was real proud that he didn't want to take the shot and risk wounding the deer, and he hadn't shot a rifle enough. I was going to try to let the deer get in close, but the deer didn't get in close, so he let it go, and that was neat. That was neat for him to do that.
Yeah, that's cool to see that, some kids
just blast away. Blast away and maybe wound the deer or whatever. Right. But he wanted to take a good quality shot, which is real good. I was real proud of that.
Yeah, that's cool. So when you started playing guitar, you played through college and that kind of thing, playing in country bands.
I played in country bands. I played in church a lot. I played in bars a lot. We had a little band. I remember my first gig that I got paid for when I was like 13. We played at a local skating rink there, me and these 4 other buddies of mine, and we got paid $150, all 5 of us. We made $35 a piece, which was huge money for me then. This is kind of ironic, but my first gig in Nashville when I moved to town, which there's all kind of war stories about not getting paid good, I made $35. and I remember thinking, now wait a minute, I did this when I was like 13. I think I'm going backwards here, but anyway, that's like a whole nother story.
Oh man, I had the same thing. I was quoted when I first got my first gig in Nashville in '99. I was quoted one price to go on the road and tour for the rest of the year, and put my house up for sale and everything, moved to Nashville, and I opened my first paycheck after the first week, and it was exactly half.
Wow, half what they said.
Yeah, and we had a band meeting, and everybody's like, "Hey, what's up? You get paid to half?" Yeah. And they're like, "Yeah, what's going on?" And they're like, "Well, turns out we didn't have the budget." I couldn't believe it. That was a rude awakening.
Man, and when you don't have contracts and things like that, it's kind of word of mouth thing. There's just a lot of deals like that go down.
It can be tough.
Yeah.
It can be a tough business, and like at that point, I was stuck because I didn't have another gig or another job.
But I remember, back to your point about playing, I did that all through high school, played in church, played in bars and stuff, and my mom and dad said, well, man, we want you to go to college. I said, well, I want to go too, but if I go, I want to major in music. So South Carolina, I went to college there, majored in music, guitar, got a degree in classical guitar. Did that. Was that kind of redirected because I was exposed to so much stuff in college. A lot of great players, a lot of different kinds of genres, jazz, all this stuff, and it just redefined things for me. I was like, wow, there's a whole world out there that growing up in Little Union, South Carolina, I didn't ever get musically. And so I did that, got out of college, worked around town there. I started teaching privately, had as many as 60 students a week at one time.
Hey.
I was a full-time teacher, played on the weekends.
This was in Nashville?
No, this was back home.
Okay.
This was prior to moving to Nashville. So I just kind of reached a plateau there, and I'm like, man, this is really all I'll ever do here is maybe playing these few clubs. I had a gig at a place called Possum Hollow, which was owned by George Jones.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of the biggest country venues there. I had what's called a house gig. If you know what a house gig is, you've had them.
Yeah.
Well, like I was in the house band. I'm there every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. So I was teaching 50 students a week, playing in this house band. But that was the pinnacle for that area. I really couldn't do any more, and I was really getting into songwriting at that point, trying to learn how to write songs. And I'm like, man, I just got to go somewhere where there's more music. And so I looked into Los Angeles, and me being a Southern boy, I'm like, man, I don't want to move out there because I was way into rock music too.
Oh yeah, this is the 80s.
Yeah,
and you had long hair.
So didn't want to move to New York. And I'd always loved country music, and so, man, Nashville was the logical choice to me. It was within driving distance. So, long story short, man, I packed one of my buddy's trailers up, put all my crap in it, found a couple of friends that I knew from college. We had 4 or 5 roommates. I moved to Nashville in January of 1992, and I haven't looked back. I've been in Nashville ever since.
That's awesome.
And just met so many neat people there. I was writing a lot with a friend of mine, a guy named Monty Allen. He was about to get a record deal, had several labels looking at him. He was a writer for a company named EMI. So they signed him as a writer, and they were like, yeah, who wrote all these songs with you, man? This is Robert Arthur guy. Well, he's my best friend from South Carolina. Well, back then, which this is another hour-long podcast that I won't get into, but like the industry's changed so much now. Back then, publishing companies had a lot more money. There was a lot bigger market share. They were signing writers left and right. So I got a publishing deal at EMI, mainly because of my friend Monty, mainly because I'd written all these songs with him.
They searched you out pretty much.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen really.
No. They were like, well, who's this guy, man? We'll sign him too. So I got a small publishing deal over there. I was fortunate.
How long after you moved to town did this happen?
This is in 1994.
Wow, that's awesome. Hold on, 2 years after.
So and then like Monty got signed over there first, and like several months first, and he was about to get a record deal. Monty, by the way, is still one of my best friends. He's now sang with Alan Jackson for the last 13 years. He's been on the road with Alan now, 14 years this year. But anyway, he was about to get his own deal then.
That's like the best gig in Nashville.
One of the best gigs in
one
Nashville.
Of the best.
Absolutely. Which he does that with Scott Coney, who's another great deer hunter.
Yeah.
Great outdoorsman. But I got that deal over at EMI, and I've done a lot of dumb things in Nashville, but fortunately I was smart enough to parlay that into a lot of friendships, which I still have to this day. I was at EMI from 94 to 99, during which time I met Brad Paisley. They signed Brad at EMI as a writer right after they signed me. And I was making more money than Brad at the time. I know that's shocking to some of you people on this podcast, but Brad was making peanuts then.
And he had just graduated.
He had just graduated from Belmont. He was an intern at ASCAP. But we hit it off on the guitar playing level. We were both big fans of great guitar players. Brad's obviously a just amazingly talented player, writer. So we started fishing together. Brad's not a big hunter, but Brad's a big fisherman. We fished together. We started writing songs together. That's turned into a lifelong friendship now. I've been fortunate enough to have a bunch of cuts on Brad's records. Reason being, I knew him from the start. I knew him from ground level.
That's amazing. So you've had a cut on every Brad Paisley record.
No, not every one. But I just got one on his recent record that's going to be coming out, I think, in April.
Congrats!
Man. I think I got one on that. But on the previous album, I did not have one.
Okay.
I had a couple on the Play album, which was an instrumental thing that got a Grammy nomination.
Wow.
So this old hillbilly, it's hard to believe, has been nominated for a Grammy on something he wrote, which that'll probably never happen again. But
you add that to your name the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Yeah, Grammy nominated.
Grammy nominated. Turkey calling hillbilly. But yeah, he's been a dear friend to me. He is an absolute great human being. Just a precious man, great friend. I love him like a brother.
So, Brad, if you're listening to this podcast, which you're probably not, I love you, man. No. but yeah, him.
I love you, man, and get more of my songs.
Yeah, there you go. And I met guys like Daryl Worley during that time. Daryl was signed over there as a writer. Bunch of great songwriters. A guy named Richard Lee. A guy named Roger Springer, who's a huge songwriter. Great friends with Mark Chestnut. We had a bunch of Chestnut cuts together. Roger probably single-handedly kind of took me under his wing and mentored me as a writer. He's a brilliantly gifted songwriter. Roger, by the way, great deer hunter, lives on a big ranch in Oklahoma, killed a 184-inch 20-pointer this year. Non-typical.
What state was this?
Oklahoma.
Oh, wow.
Oklahoma.
Man. Look at them turkeys over there.
Oh, we got them. Turkeys in the field.
Oh, look at that.
Let's give them a hand.
Oh,
We're
right
in the great
there.
state of Kentucky.
There's like
about
50 in there.
There is a bunch out there. And ladies and gentlemen, it is raining.
Pouring down rain.
It's pouring down rain.
And they're in the field.
They were in the field. They're on the edge over there. It was a wheat field that had wheat slightly coming up in it. They were out there to get out of those woods and to just feed around in that wheat. And it's pouring down rain, but they were right in the middle of the field. So, and this time of year they're flocked up like that. You know, you won't hardly see 2 and 3 turkeys by themselves this time of year. They're generally bunched up. Same thing, throughout the winter. Now, spring mating season comes along, you'll see the flocks, and then as turkey season goes along, you'll start to see all these single hens by themselves. Most of the time, that's hens that have already been bred and they're out looking for a nesting spot. That's what you're seeing when you see, like, say, April 20th in South Carolina, you'll see a lot of single hens.
And we need to do a rendition of Beyonce's song.
Beyonce?
All the single hens, like all the single ladies. All the single hens.
All the single hens. Yeah, there you go. That's funny.
But so getting back to the music side of things.
Yep.
So are you, you're continuing with your writing now?
I'm currently
not really wanting to tour as much anymore, right?
Yeah, I would love, we play with the Henningsons as we're on the road right now.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that. So me and Robert met like 5 years ago through the Henningsons, who had a song that went to number 10.
Yeah, top 10, 15, something like that.
They were on
Arista record. We did the Brad Paisley tour.
Yeah, that's how we met with that first year, played with the Henningsons. And then from there, we started hunting together right away.
Absolutely.
Out of that first deer season.
Did we know each other prior to that? We didn't? Okay,
we met through this.
That's cool. That's awesome. That's a good thing.
And then, so that just shows you how in every band that I've been a part of, there's always one hunter.
Exactly.
I'm not sure about you, but
pretty much, I think so. Yeah.
Like, there's usually one hunter, and there's just a lot of
musicians who also hunt.
And it's
there is.
It's pretty cool though, the connection with the outdoor industry and music and everything like that.
It's very cool.
And they happen to be two things that I really enjoy doing.
Me too.
And I get paid to do one of those right now.
Exactly.
And hopefully we get paid to do some hunting stuff.
Absolutely, I hope so too. Man, that'd be if I could hunt full time now and get paid, I'd probably maybe just play music just for fun.
Right.
These guys. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I went to the NWTS show, which is there in Nashville this weekend, and man, it's just amazing and just inspiring. There's so many cool new products out now, and it's just, man, so fun to watch those guys that are
was
part
there
of
any
that.
like one booth that stood out to you that you were really?
I did see this one thing. It was kind of a gimmicky thing, but it would work like crazy. They have a strutting gobbler now that's on a little mini Land Rover car. And so you can literally remote control drive this gobbler out into the field and drive him around and make him strut. And then you can drive him back towards you. They showed a video of it. They drove this gobbler out towards these flock of turkeys. And these turkeys started following him. And then they drove him back over to the guy with the gun. And these toms were chasing this turkey. And it's like this strutting gobbler was running from him. and he drove it back over there too, and then they blasted these. It's just like, okay,
Man,
what are we?
that's some redneck engineering right there.
It was beautiful. I loved it. And yeah, there's lots of options now on these fan things. They actually have big turkey fans that are big enough for a person to hide behind.
Oh wow, like 3 foot, 4 foot.
Yeah, and so they showed this one, and I guess the depth perception, the turkey can't see it and tell that it's wider or something. Because I was curious as to how that worked. But it showed this one guy literally sitting behind it on his knees, drew his bow back, and then stepped over the blind and shot a turkey with a bow.
That's cool.
And he had walked out in the field. And so, yeah, there's just so many neat products.
That's cool.
I love that mirror thing. Have you seen the mirror thing?
Mirror? No, I haven't
They
seen
have
that.
a mirror now that you can, it's called
I mean,
Ghost
I do love
Blind.
the mirror. I mean,
Yeah,
I'd love
yeah.
to look at myself in the
Yeah,
mirror.
oh yeah, of course you will. I think it's called Ghost Blind, where
Okay.
you literally take this blind and it's a reflective thing like a mirror. So say you're in a cornfield. Well, all the turkey sees is more corn because it's reflecting what's right on the other side of the blind.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it works in any scenario. We're actually riding by this big field right now. It's got corn. You can take that blind and walk out there toward the animals, and
it
all
looks like
they
it's part
see
of
is
it. Yeah.
it just looks like corn. It doesn't look like a bush that's moving.
That is
It
crazy.
literally, or if you're in the woods and it's oak leaves, it looks like oak leaves because it's reflective.
Man, I want to make mirror
That's-
camo.
Mirror camo. It would be. That's a great idea.
Man, I think we're onto $1 million
I think
idea.
we
here.
might be.
We'll make
We may be
hundreds
on
of
that.
dollars.
We would make tens of dollars. It'd be tens. But man, yeah,
So many products.
there's so many cool products out there now. Just turkey calls, man, the sky's the limit. I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah.
And camo patterns are just great ones out there. You know, I love Mossy Oak. Those guys
Yeah,
have
I've
been
always
good to
been
me.
a fan of Mossy
But man, there's so many just cool different things out there. It's just neat to see it all.
Can you tell us, just think back in your, I'm not going to say how many years of turkey hunting, but lots of years.
Well, I'm 54,
right.
and I started when I was I think I killed my first turkey when I was 16.
Okay.
I'm thinking 15 or 16.
So you're talking like 35 years?
Long
40?
time, buddy.
I don't know, I can't do that math quick.
Long time.
So tell me your favorite turkey hunt that you can just think back and you're like, that was amazing, that was unbelievable.
Man, it probably has to be my first one because it lit the fire so bad.
All right.
My brother, I told you that was 12 years older than me, roosted this turkey the night before.
Okay, tell us how to roost. Just a quick side note.
Okay, a quick side note is you're there in the afternoon, and this turkey was vocal in the afternoon. It was gobbling, and this was South Carolina. It was on a guy's name, God rest his soul, a man named Bill Alverson. He let us hunt on his property. I killed my first deer there too, so it's a special piece of property to me for that reason. But he roosted this turkey on it was a pine / hardwood ridge. He heard the turkey gobble when it was almost dark. So, guess what? That turkey's in the tree. If you hear a turkey gobble and the sun is already set and it's almost dark, that's where he's going to be the next morning, unless a bobcat gets up the tree and chases him out or something weird like that, which would be very rare. But yeah, so he roosted this turkey, and he and I didn't know anything about turkey hunting. And so I had a Penn Woods, which they still have a company, Penn Woods Woodsman, one thin little diaphragm that I'd been practicing. It was it's real high-pitched little thing. So we go in there. It was dark the next morning, and we didn't know that we were doing the right thing. We didn't know a lot about turkey, but remember the scenario I told you about? Right on the other side of a ridge, if you're within 40 yards of the top of the ridge.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, we did that by accident. We didn't know what the crap we were doing.
Oh, okay.
But we went. I said, well, let's get pretty close to him. You know,
Yeah.
and I didn't know what I was doing, and so we did. We got in there and got close to him, and my brother really didn't know how to call yet. I was the one messing around with calling. So I had this goose gun, a 36-inch barrel 12 gauge
Dang.
goose gun, and I didn't have a
Reach out
turkey
there.
gun then. Well. We set up just there in the hardwoods, and fortunately, I was within about 30 yards of the top of the ridge. And we sit up, and lo and behold, it started getting light. And that turkey was about 80 yards. He was roosted right on the other side of that ridge.
Nice.
He gobbled his freaking head off. And I, looking back, probably called too much because I didn't know. You don't call a lot when they're in a tree. You don't do all that stuff. Well, I called to him 3 or 4 times, and he was just one of those. He was by himself. It was late in the turkey season. He was so hot. He was coming in.
He was coming in no matter what.
So I did quack, 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 and he would triple gobble at it.
Wow.
Well, I remember him flying down, and I heard him hit the ground.
I heard him in the leaves.
And I could hear the leaves. I could hear him, like you said, walking in the leaves. And I already had my gun on my knee. And it was the first time for you guys who haven't turkey hunted that I heard drumming.
Oh, yeah.
If you know what drumming is,
Yep.
they do this popping, and it's this air blowing sensation. It's like their wings will pop, and it goes, and you hear this air. He was so close. He was like 30 yards.
And it's really the sound of his feathers
Right.
popping up.
It's the sound of his feathers popping up. And he did that like 3 or 4 times. And I remember my heart just being up in my neck. It's like my veins in my neck were about to explode.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do. He was over there drumming, doing that. And I just called real soft. He gobbled, and it was so loud, I thought I was going to have a heart attack.
Right.
And man, when he gobbled that last time, he took about 3 or 4 more steps, and he was right there at 30 yards, and he was in full strut. Looking back, I think he saw me. He just kind of come out of strut and looked at me, and when he did, I blasted him.
Man, that's
and
awesome.
Rolled him over, man. And that excitement of that feeling, having a long-beard turkey that close to you is to me unparalleled in the hunting woods. Just that close in on you like that. They say elk, which I hadn't had a chance to hunt elk yet. That's a bucket list thing for me.
Yeah,
They say when you bugle an elk and he gets right in on you like that and he bugles, that it's that same sensation. And I'm sure it would be with an animal that fast. It'd be crazy.
Yeah, that's one thing I want to do. But I mean, it is the next best thing when you get a gobbler that's slowly coming in. And
Yeah.
you just knowing that you can do so much to screw this hunt up.
Right.
Drop of a hat. I mean,
Yeah.
they see, and
Yeah.
you say you blink the wrong way, and they'll take off running.
Yeah,
It's
man.
like, it's
So,
crazy.
I
love it.
Yeah, I totally love it. That hunt really sticks out to me, man. That was obviously one you'll remember, and man, if I really zone in on it, I can just about remember a lot of them, all of them.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah. It's somehow like I can think back, and you're talking about how a piece of property has a special spot in
Yes.
in your memory.
Oh, wow.
Like the first deer you shot, but not only that, but like every piece of property that I've hunted, I could probably go there today and walk and find this close to the tree that I climbed.
See, that's awesome. That's
And
good.
it's like,
well,
you
it's a
just-
special thing, man.
Yeah.
It really is. To people who haven't done it, they don't get it. It's a spiritual thing.
That really is. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Well, it comes back to that whole hunter-gatherer thing. But
It is.
For me, it kind of brings me. It's a stress reliever. Brings me back to center.
Me too.
When I can get out and just see the sunrise and see God's nature,
Yeah, exactly.
coming to life,
It
and
completely does that.
it just you can be like 30 miles from the house, or you could be out. You can hunt 200 yards from your back door,
Right.
and it feels like you're in the middle of Wyoming
Just
or
being
wherever,
out
you know.
anywhere, man. Just being out in the woods is totally. It's a complete. Yeah, there again, not to preach to anybody or sound spiritual. The Bible talks about nature leaves man without excuse to know there's a God, and to me, that's how I view it. Like when I get out in nature, I'm like, man, this just didn't randomly happen. There's too much order in all this, and just like a turkey, for instance, just to see their uncanny. They aren't smart, they aren't intelligent, but they're so wary and so instinctive. That's what it is.
Yeah.
They are just creatures of instinct, and man, I just something in me won't let me believe that evolved.
Right.
That had a design to it. It's just like so amazing, and I'm like, wow.
Well, that turkey has a God-given instinct.
He has an instinct that just is so uncanny, you know.
And to try and figure that out, what that is.
Oh, it's crazy.
It's really exciting.
I will
just
say,
like the way that, I mean, I feel like everyone has a gift.
Right.
Like whatever your gift may be, when you find your gift and do it to the fullest of your capability, that's when you're, you know, essentially in the will of the Lord.
Agreed.
For your life.
Agreed.
You know, it's like,
absolutely. Yeah. Whatever it is, everybody's got. You know, we're all so unique. We all have the fingerprint of God on us, but we're all completely unique at the same time. That's what makes it so beautiful, man. Everything. I mean, you know, Kevin, just for instance, Kevin is a very gifted plumber. He went and helped me with one of my sinks. Man, if I did that, water would be going everywhere still. But he understands that, and that's just one little snapshot of who he is as a person. You know, he's gifted at that, and I'm gifted at certain things, and every one of you listening are gifted at different things, you know. And it's just, that's what makes us all unique.
And it really is a blessing to be able to spend time in the woods. And, just to really appreciate everything.
To me anymore, it's not about killing an animal.
No.
I love to harvest animals, and that's fun, but to me, I mean, just having kids, watching them get involved with it, that's a much bigger reward. And I personally, I want to get involved with like these Wounded Warrior things. I'd love to do that as a turkey caller. Get involved with people who are sick, who maybe don't have the opportunities to go.
Yeah.
That would be so fun to me. I was talking to a guy yesterday at the show about that. And I said, man, if y'all ever need somebody to do that, you know, because I've hunted enough turkeys now. I'm not a world champion caller. Like I say, some of these guys now just destroy me calling. But I do kind of know what they want to do in the woods.
He's selling himself short again. He's a really good caller.
Well,
I mean, in the woods, but man, it's like...
I'm probably a better turkey hunter than I am a caller. You know, I just know I've done it, and I've made so freaking many mistakes is the deal.
Right.
I've learned from my mistakes, and I'm like, you don't need to do that because you're going to screw up if you do that.
Yep.
Remember that time when you scared that turkey off when you did that? I'm kind of self-analyzing when I hunt like that too, and you're a amalgamation of all your past mess ups and the times that you did something right. And, you know, I've got the turkey.
Yeah, it's really rewarding for me too, to be able to take someone that's never hunted.
Oh, I love
that. A buddy like that, you know, that's never shot a bird. And to see them,
you did that last year, right?
Yeah, my buddy Jamie Braun, he runs front of house sound for Scotty McCreary.
Right.
And he's always wanted to go turkey hunting, and I took him to the Henningson's property, and it worked out great.
That's awesome.
Called in 2 birds, and we both got one.
That's so good.
His first time hunting. It was amazing.
When that happens, that's not the norm. So don't get frustrated. That would be something else that I would advise. You know, success is not measured. I think everything we just said in the last 5-10 minutes talking about being out in nature and all, to me, the bottom line of all that is success hunting is not measured on what you kill.
No.
Success is measured on, the fulfillment that it gives you just being out there and getting to do it.
Yep.
That's where your success is. Of course, we all want to shoot a big long beard and a big buck and all that. Yeah, we all want to do that. And you will if you go enough. Trust me, you'll go if you have a good place to go, a decent enough place to hunt.
Yeah.
And you'll mess up just enough times that sooner or later you will do something right and you'll get one. Yeah. So I would just encourage everybody not to get frustrated with it, to just keep your nose to the grindstone.
Yeah, and it's more of it's definitely like if someone comes up to me and says, "Man, I really want to kill a turkey," and I'll be less likely to take them hunting than if they're like, "I want to get into hunting."
Right, exactly.
That's more of the dude that I'll be like,
right.
Or gal, you know,
right,
like
exactly.
that. I'll be like, "Yeah, you want to get into hunting?" Because it's really not going to happen. It's not always going to happen your first time. It's not even going to happen your first season.
Right, exactly.
I know there was another buddy of mine, Justin. I'm sure he'll be listening to this. We hunted so hard to get him a bird this one year, and it was just one of those years where it was just the scenario was we would be on this side of the field, they would fly down over there.
That's just and man, guess what? Guess what? That's part of hunting.
Yeah.
That's why they call it hunting. They don't call it shooting.
Right.
Because you don't shoot every gun. You know, they call it hunting because there's a challenge to it.
So
you know,
Justin ended up, he got a bird.
Good, that's awesome.
And what was awesome is he shot a bird and brought his son, and his son was with him on the first bird that he killed. We had been out so much, he knew how to call his own, and I was like, man, you just go do it. I think this is gonna be a good morning.
That's killer.
And he went out, just him and his boy, and they shot the first bird
That's
together.
killer, man. That's awesome. There's nothing like that. To me, that's very rewarding.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind being an old wuss and telling you guys, man, I cried the first time my oldest son shot a turkey and a deer. I teared up.
Oh yeah, man, I can understand.
It was very, very, and then you got kids, and so to
I
me,
can't wait though when I can take Cadence first
to
time.
me, it was that whole handing the torch off thing. Like, I remember my brother just spending so much time with me. My dad, he went hunting some with us, but he didn't get to go a lot because he worked a lot.
Yeah.
And but man, my brother took me, and it was this full circle moment to me. It was like, you know, and it just kind of got me. I was like, wow, let's just kind of come full circle here.
Man, that's
So
cool.
you know, so that's very.
Do I jump on 69 here?
I don't think so. I think
Still
you stay straight.
65?
I think so.
Hey, Redneck Siri, I need you.
Yeah, next year. You just stay right on up. You're just like we normally go. We're heading up to Illinois. We're in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. You guys want to get your little Siri map out? There, over here in this part of Kentucky, there's great turkey hunting, but this is a secret for big bucks in this area.
Man, this part of Kentucky is.
There are some
They got figured
studs over here.
Yeah.
Scott Coney, the guy that I mentioned earlier,
He plays acoustic.
he plays acoustic for Alan Jackson.
Yeah.
He has a big lease right in this area where we are now. And Scott passes up 150s deer.
Wow.
And he's a total conservationist. Scott doesn't kill a deer every year, but if he kills one, it was one worth shooting. You better believe it.
Cool.
Yeah, he will pass with his bow a 150,
Wow.
which I couldn't do that with a gun. I couldn't pass
All right.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
I'll figure it
I'm not there yet, Scott. I love
Right.
you, but I can't do that.
out. Well, he's probably got some wall hangers that I ain't got.
Yeah, some serious deer. That's awesome, man.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, thanks for taking the time to do the podcast.
Oh, man, I
I know
enjoyed
we
it.
got time to kill here driving.
Buddy,
so I'm
that's
like,
awesome.
I'm just gonna push record and we'll start talking about turkey hunting.
So hopefully there's something he can edit out of this that
Oh, this is
that'll
just gonna be long
encourage
play.
you guys. Oh, cool. That's
Yeah.
good.
But I think if you had to sum up what we're talking about, go.
Man, just get out and do it for the sheer enjoyment of it.
Yep.
Don't go into it with a set of preconceived expectations. I would say that. Just if you get out with an open mind and just go, I'm going to enjoy this, whether I shoot a long-beard turkey with 4 beards or whether I call him up and he sees my stupid white socks and I scare him off, I'm going to have fun. You know, this is about enjoying time in the woods with God's creation and with friends, family, your son, your grandpa, whoever you're going out there with. Do it for the sheer enjoyment of it and let the expectation be just that. And then anything you are fortunate enough or blessed enough to get to harvest, to get to kill, man, that's just gravy.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I would say.
That's awesome, man. Awesome, Robert. Appreciate it, dude.
Yeah, thank you, my friend. I love Kevin. I love what they do with Double Trouble. I just saw a pic on Facebook of him at he looked like he was 13, but he said he was 20. But he had 2 turkeys slung over his shoulder, and him and Jared, his buddy, they got a great thing there. I really encourage you to check out all of their podcasts, their website. I'll say this about them: they are passionate about what they do. They love the outdoors.
Yep, that's
it's
true.
not this thing he's doing because he feels obligated to do it or whatever. Man, he loves it. He lives and breathes it. He can't wait. He's in a state of mourning now because deer season just ended.
That's right.
But he's a passionate dude about music and about outdoors and about his family. He's just a great guy. Check him out on all the stuff he's got going on, and I'm glad to be part of this.
Thanks, Robert.
Thank you, buddy.
I appreciate it. And you you're an inspiration to the turkey world.
Hey, I'm going to give you one last call here
All right,
as we stop this. Here
what's
it
the
goes.
scenario? All right,
The scenario is you're showing somebody how to use a turkey call. And here's what you do. You put the call in your mouth, you slosh it around for like 5 minutes, and you get it just right, and you smile at them, and you go, yeah, turkey, 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 turkey.
That's
Good hunting, guys. I hope y'all get a one.
All right.